Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we have
It used to
anyone?
be here again. My name is Mayowa Onabanjo. I'm happy to be here. Crossroad Africa. If there's anyone online, please comment so that we know we are live and we are not alone. So we have Aminat Tadese in our midst tonight. We'll be walking us through organizational structure and human capital development. And she's there in our midst already. And okay. Welcome to Crossroad Africa.
Thank you so much for having me, Mayowa. It's great to be here
Uh,
tonight.
welcome. So how is COVID-19 over there? I
Oh,
hope
the
it's not
US
affecting
right
you
now
guys.
is hot. It is actually, but of course we're practicing social distancing and we're trying
Okay.
to be as careful as possible. So I guess we're good. We're good.
More, the panic over here is much, and I don't know over there too. And over here, they are I think the government have banned or suspend any garden that is more than 50 people. And I don't know
Me
whether
as
something
well.
like it's over
Been
there
closed down
too.
for a while as well.
It's over there too.
Yeah, so schools have been closed down here for like 2 weeks now. Unnecessary events, unnecessary gatherings have been closed down. You can't even have unnecessary travels.
Okay.
Um, your travels have to be important if you live in the United States. And if you're coming in, there are certain countries that are currently not being allowed into the United States that have been banned. There are some that have been restricted, but I think with the Nigerian media at the moment, there's a lot of
Okay.
misinformation, and that is carrying
Yeah.
people to death. Information can actually, if you don't have the right information, is worse than anything at all. So I think that's just the thing with the Nigerian government, and I think they're currently, the Lagos State government is currently trying to ensure that that part of it is being managed because I saw some information they put out yesterday. So I think we'll be fine.
Matter
It's
of
just
time.
we need to be clean, ensure sanitation every time. So
Okay.
yeah.
So let me just read about a little proverb about you. Amina has a high level of integrity and professionalism, strong and interpersonal skill and communication skill, high influence of idea, detail oriented with proven track record of excellent performance. So tonight she will be walking us through organization structure, how we can develop our organization, and also manage human capitals too. So Hamina, well, let's hand over the class to you so that we can walk us through the topic of the day without wasting much of our time. Over to you now. You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much for that. So how many people do we have live right
Let,
now? Do we have
let,
anybody
let me check
on
my
live at
phone,
the
but
moment?
you can continue now. Let me check my phone.
Okay, because I'm trying to see if we can make it kind of
Interactive,
interactive
okay.
as well, just so that just so that because human capacity development is very it's a variable topic in the sense that the level of development per individual depends on, aside from even where you're working, it depends on the personal effort that you put into
Okay,
yourself. It depends on the quality of life
okay,
you've built before you even gained employment into a particular organization, and then what the organization has also done to help you improve on
okay.
that as well. So that's why I'm pretty much very critical about who joins us tonight and what they're able to take out of this at the end of the
Okay.
day. So yes, pretty much human capital development is the core of any organization. And I think one of the reasons why I at first went into human capacity development before I started my technology company as well is because I believe that you can't give what you don't have. My first degree is in law, so we say Nemo dat called non abet. You can't give what you
Yeah.
don't have. What you have is what you give back into wherever you are, and what you give into where you are is what sows into it and then develops the organization and helps to make the values and the core practices of the organization much better. Now, if you don't have what is in line with the values of the organization, then there's going to be pretty much a lot of problems with you and how you're able to manage yourself, in the organization. We've seen people that have resigned from companies simply because they do not fit into the structure.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
They just can't deal with what's happening in the company. For example, some companies are very very environmental based. So they take they're very eco friendly. I beg your pardon. So they take health and safety and environment very seriously. Such companies, you see them that they use a lot of eco friendly appliances or gadgets. For example, I know of a company that a lot of their stuff when it comes to furniture in America here are made from reusable disposed things. So, for example, they make
Okay.
furniture from wasted bottles, from pencils, things that you would think that do not make sense or that are waste.
Okay.
So they utilize waste resources in ways that are more projected for themselves. And pretty much at the end of the day, for example, if somebody who doesn't seem to you know understand why they are doing what they are doing goes into that company, that person will not, fit into it because it's going to be wondering why he has to wash his hand every time he gets to work, why he has to, do certain things, maintain certain sanitation standards or hygiene standards. So, organizational culture is actually very, very important. But the most important thing is the human part of it because the human are the ones that translate your structure and your culture into daily practices.
Okay.
So whatever, when you go to any company and then you see they'll put organizational structure, maybe I think some companies when you enter you see it, some in their HR offices,
Yeah.
they have it there. Now, the structure is useless without the people.
Okay.
Because the people pretty much tell you how that structure is working. So there is something we say in HR, usually when we go to join probably when we get like a new client that we make the joke that if we want to see how good our new client is, let's talk them through and check them out. So pretty
Okay.
much a lot of times the people are the ones that actually make up the organization.
Okay.
But then in Africa, and then Nigeria being the case study at the moment, we have that problem of we not knowing how best to position our people, how best to maximize the resources. But I mean, thankfully, we have a few developments in that area in that regard at the moment. So
Okay.
back to my major point, the people translates the structure into actionable practices, into actionable processes. They create a value chain for the organization.
Okay.
They translate the organization's want. So, for example, I'm sure for Crossroads Africa that you started, you have certain things that you want to achieve with it.
Mhm.
For example, I'm like a consultant on your team at the moment because you're bringing me in to share my idea and my knowledge with you and your viewers. Now, the fantastic thing is you have certain things you've told me about Crossroads Africa. That is the value you're trying to create. I have to, whatever I'm going to be saying here tonight, I have to think about what you've told me and work according to that. Now,
Okay.
that is the same thing that happens in any organization. The structure has been created by whoever owns the organization because everybody has an idea of what they want to achieve when they're starting something. So, I think it's just very important that we understand that the people, I mean, I've just been saying all of this explanation just so that we can understand how people play, the roles people play in any organization. They are the orbit of the organization. They determine what works, what doesn't work. They determine even what you're trying to make work, how far you can go. They determine the levels of development and how fast you can go as well. So if your people are not properly trained, if they are not properly managed, then it translates in the overall effect of how your organization is being managed, how your growth processes are being managed as well. So it's also very important that you know we understand that there is different growth strategies when it comes to managing people and the organizational structure. We have the business strategy, we have the strategic marketing, and we have the sales strategy. Now, for any organization, you want to grow. That's where the business strategy comes in. You want to develop your business from every level and every angle. Secondly, you want to market your business to the people that are actually going to be um, trying to get you on. Now, what does this mean? This means that, for example, I have an idea in my head, and I'm probably working for an organization where my ideas are not being properly managed, or where my ideas are not being appreciated. For example, we've had people come to tell us that, oh, my company doesn't actually appreciate me. And then, when you ask them why, they say, oh, when I give ideas, my ideas are not being infused into the company's activities to engage our end users, our clients, customers, or even to optimize the growth of the company. So there is also the part of people looking at the marketing, because a lot of companies have their marketing strategies. Yes, we've seen all the beautiful things you're reading, but who translates that marketing strategy into end user activation? It's the
Okay.
people, because they are the ones that go out, they are the ones that meet the humans. So there's another thing we say in HR. We say we have structure to structure, human to human. All the documentations are all structures, you've written everything out. But then when it comes to daily activities, when it comes to breaking down all of those structures that you're wanting to implement into activities, there is a human to human relationship, there's a human to human connection. Now, I am a human, for example, and I'm probably trying to sell my product to another organization. Now,
Okay.
I'm not going, yes, it's an organization, but then I'm going to go meet other human beings in that organization. So that's where we have the human capital development, where human capital development can also translate to human capacity development or human capability development. So what this means is that, what capabilities do you have? What capacity does your staff have? What is your corporate value? If I call 5 of your staff right now, would they be able to tell me, these are the organizational values that we work by in my company? Do they know what you stand for? Do they know the strengths of the organization? Do they know your core competitors? Do they know the strengths of your core competitors as well? Do they know your core weaknesses? Do they know the strides that the company is putting towards ensuring that the core weaknesses are being managed? Can they categorically tell how their own job translates to the overall goal for the company? Now, a lot of organizations, they come up with all these ambiguous, big words, just trying to put in all the words together, and they forget that it's not just about you having the documentation. It's
Okay.
about how that documentation will be translated by your staff, by the humans in your organization. Because I feel like sometimes, even as a consultant, when we build up um, training materials for companies, or when we build up whatever competency development documentation for companies, we like to mention to them that, see, all of these things are just the process. There
Okay.
is the people part of that process, there is the profit part of that process, and there is the productivity part of that process. Now, all of these are intertwined. If the people do not act in a productive manner, they will not activate the process. If they do not activate the process will not bring forth profit. If it doesn't bring forth profit, there's no development for the company. So all of this is are kind of like intertwined, and they all have like segments where they have to be clearly spelled out. You can't leave anything in ambiguity. You can't leave anything not properly understood. That's another thing. A lot of organizations do not break down their structures, and structure isn't just about the organogram. Nope. It's about how does this company works? What makes us work? What makes us tick? What do we do that is different from what other people are doing? What do we do that is different from how we're being perceived by our organization? Because now we have like the internal clientele or internal customers in any organization. These are people in your company that use your product, and then we have the external client, which are the people you're trying to get to use your product, who do not work with you. Now, for example, as an internal potential client, I might be using my company product because it's cheaper, because I have certain discount of it. But if I had the opportunity in another place to get a discount, I probably would not be using my company's product because I do not see the value, or because the value is not as much as I would want it to be as an end user. Um, but then when I go to an external client, how do I tell them to come use our product? Now, so these are things that companies need to begin to look at. That yes, I like that organizational brochure that you give to your new employers. I beg your pardon, your new employees, or whatever. But it doesn't do anything pretty much if you don't translate that into how their everyday life will be in the company. For example, I want to come into the company every day and look forward to being able to see what I do daily translate to what the company wants to achieve. For example, as the gatekeeper, do I know that I'm the security personnel that ensures that whoever comes into the company, you know, is properly profiled, and I ensure that I speak to whoever is on the inside to know that they probably have an interview, or they have a pre-assigned appointment. You
Right.
know, as the human resource manager, do I know that I am in charge of every human in this organization, and my activities every day translates to how the humans here, are better off in terms of their capabilities, their capacity, in terms of their personal growth. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
Um, as the marketing manager, do I understand that the marketing structures that I'm doing has to be broken down, to the marketing department and every member that are on my marketing team, to understand that for everything that we sell, it translates to the overall um, financial strength of the company. As
Okay.
the transformation manager, do I understand that the policies that I put in place determines the quality of transformation that happens in the organization
It's,
on a day-to-day basis? As the change manager, do I understand that all the policies that I'm putting in place is preparing us for whatever changes that we are going to be expecting? Now, it, I'm actually a change consultant as well, and one of the key things we hear when we go to organizations is we see people telling us, "Oh, we're not. I don't think we need a change manager right now," or I don't think we're ready for any change right now. So maybe when we have any changes in the organization, will come." Now, using
okay.
the current scenario that is scaring the whole world, I don't think anybody anticipated coronavirus this
No, no,
time
no,
last.
no. No, no,
Exactly.
no one will believe that something like this will come.
Now it has taken over the world in such a way that it's not being properly managed in some countries because they don't have proper country managers or proper um, organizational managers or change management consultants on their leadership team. You know, they don't have certain things that are needed. Now imagine if, for example, using Nigeria in context. Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine if Nigeria had change consultants who help through every process, who anticipate things that could happen, health infrastructure. And once these things happen, they put in place certain structures that just, can be easily activated. So, for example, look at most of the international organizations. I can tell you categorically that a lot of top companies are actually managing the virus spread more than countries are. It's very funny, right?
Yeah.
Companies are managing this virus spread more than countries. Why? Because these top shot companies have the best, and that are able to anticipate certain things and put in place structures that are easy to now
Instructions.
start to translate. You understand? Now, it's and that's one thing. Whatever you built with your human capacity determines how you're able to develop the company, determines how the things that will happen, because in life you can't tell what will happen at what point with
Yeah.
an organization. So, it determines what you're able to, help to activate. It also determines how your sales strategy are going to be best implemented. Now, remember I mentioned something about the growth strategy, and I said there are three things that are very important with the growth strategy: the business strategy, the strategic marketing, and the sales strategy. Now,
Okay.
all of these three key things, they work in ensuring the organizational growth. Now, because for example, any company that doesn't make money, I mean, aside from a not for profit, every company is activated, is developed, is built, whatever English you want to use, for the purpose of making profit.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't happen, there's a problem. Now, how
Yeah.
do you make profit? You make profit by reaching out to people that need the services that you're offering, right? By marketing it to them. Now, when your business strategy is not in check, then there's a problem. When you have a strategy, but your staff cannot activate that strategy, then it means you can't make money. Then it means that you can't afford to pay your staff. And it means that you start to lay them off. So human capital development and organizational development is, it goes a lot because the structure that you have determines how life is easy for your staff. It
Okay.
determines how the humans in your company, how their life is made easy. Now, how their life is made easy will now translate to how your own company's growth will also now be activated. So it's like a two-way thing. You give the humans the best, they bring in their best to the company. So
Okay.
you either do that or you lose on both ends. Um, there is something we always ensure that companies do, every quarter or however it fits them. It's the organizational assessment. You have to assess your company. You have to understand your operational capacity, your management capacity, your adaptive capacity, your leadership capacity. How are your staff adapting to the situations that are happening in the organization? For example, with the coronavirus, being the perfect context to be used here. For example, companies that have their staff that are currently, abreast of this situation is because they put in place certain adaptive policies that makes it very easy for them to adapt to this. Also, what is the operational capacity of your staff? How are they operating? Um, Aside from your staff as well, all of the tools in your organization, how are these tools working? Also your management capacity. How is your management dealing with the company growth and human capacity aspect of it? Then the leadership capacity. How is your leadership? Because for different companies we have different structures. Some are
Okay.
broken down into a way whereby the horizontal way where certain people, maybe somebody is actually reporting to 12 12 people are reporting to one person, or one person is reporting directly to one person. So there are different, excuse me, there are different
So
excuse me, I beg your pardon.
sorry.
So there, thank you. So there are different segments,
Okay.
in this regard, and it's best if companies assess themselves. When you do an assessment periodically, you're able to see where your problems are coming from. You're able to see the
Okay.
gaps, and then when you see the gaps, it's very easy for you to now start to work in filling it. So you then begin to develop programs or develop initiatives to ensure that it is best activated or best worked on. Because at the end of the
Okay.
day, a lot of times what we see is that people do not even understand that they need to assess their company. When you don't assess your organization properly, after a while it begins to affect you, because then you don't know what the problems are. You don't know, even if you're not making your, for example, I once worked with a client that wasn't making profit as they were expecting they would, and at the end of the day, it was just one person in the organization that was the problem. Now,
Oh.
this person wasn't the problem, and I'm telling you, this
Okay.
is a 50 staff company.
Okay.
Now, in the structure sequence of the company, this person is like the midpoint. I'm trying not to be too detailed about it because people might get the
Yes.
organization, and I'm trying to ensure clients confidence.
Okay. No.
But then just to use the scenario, this individual is in the middle of the old scenario, the old company structure, from the stock, marketing, management, security is like the midpoint. from HR to transformation to sales department. So it's pretty much the midpoint person. Now, during the assessment, we were able to see that this person, it wasn't even the problem. The reason why it was the problem is because he didn't understand how his duty translates
Sorry.
to make it into the overall organizational process, you know, and then, it then begins to like tell you how much of a problem these things are. When there's a problem happening in the company and I don't know that I am the problem, how am I going to solve the company's problems? So, and then imagine they've been going back and forth on this for over a year until we came in as consultants, and then we had to break down the current processes to ensure that, we carried out an assessment to see where the gaps were. So it's very important for organizations to periodically conduct gap assessments, to know where their current problems are stemming from, you know. And the honest truth is, whether your problem is financial, whether your problem is sales development or sales pipeline or sales funnel activation, whatever the problem is, the humans are always behind it in the company. So that tells you that if they don't grow, you don't grow. A lot of times when people tell me that, oh, my organization is not trying to make me go for my, excuse me,
Okay.
my organization is not trying to make me go for my training for the year. I've given them my training budget, or I've given them my training needs, and they're still not helping. One thing I tell those organizations is this: you will come back. You'll come back to it, because at the end of the day, these people will not be able to do what you want them to do. It's like you getting into a relationship and you're expecting so much from your partner, but you're not doing your own part of that partnership.
It won't work.
You know, exactly. So you've got to give them what they need to give you what you need. It's
Okay.
simple. Give the humans in your company what they need for them to be able to give you what you need. If you want success, create a successful outlook for them.
Okay.
you know if you want development, create a process that makes their own development easy on them. We just always look at this oversight when we see a lot of top companies, when we see a lot of oil and gas companies, like the big short ones, and then we see their staff, we see how well exposed they are in terms of network, in terms of education, in terms of professional development, and we take it for granted. A lot of this professional network, in fact, sometimes that big deal that a company is trying to make, it's probably your staff that will get it done for you with another human of another company.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Now,
And
I said human. The reason why I said human is because I'm like, okay, it's a human to I'm trying to make you understand that it's a human to human connection in everything
okay.
that has to do with organization. So for example, let me just use another scenario context so it's very easy to assimilate here.
Okay.
um I was once trying to get into an organization, and it was like a lot of things. I'm like, "Ah, I need this organization, I've been projecting them be my clients, and all of that. And then one day I was like, drawing my so usually I have like a clientele profile that I do. And I was like, who do I need in this organization? Now that brings
Okay.
us back to the human question, who? And then I pointed out three different people that could get me what I want in that organization. And I'm in my head I'm like, how can I meet these people? And not just meeting them, but how can I meet them in a way whereby I will leave an impression, and then we can get to have a conversation about me possibly giving them what I'm offering.
Okay.
And then I thought, okay, the best way to do this was to join a particular professional body. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, calculating how much I want to collect as my professional
Mm.
fees from that company, and how much this professional body is charging me for their exams and everything. And I'm like, is it worth it?
Okay.
So I had to do like a balancing of both of those. Then, in my head, after I did all of that, and then, tabulating and outlining it, I said, oh, this is definitely going to be worth it, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be gaining a client that is an high-end clientele. and I'm also going to be gaining a network as an IN network, which I
Okay.
finally now joined the organization to make that friendship, and then now gained, the client at the end of the day. So you see the sequence. It's all
Yeah.
human related. So imagine if your organization is looking for a particular high-end clientele, but you can't get it. Go look for the humans in that other organization that you're trying to get into
Okay.
and relate with them.
Wow.
So in our heads, we've just put up, we'll just say structure, structure, structure. Somebody makes that structure work. Somebody is the reason why that structure is being activated on a daily basis. So organizations have to realize this, and then ensure that the learning and development. That's why another thing that we say is building organizational clarity is very, very important.
Okay.
Companies have to be clear. You have to be clear as to what you want. If you don't know what you want, when you employ a person, you can't tell them what you want them to do. Because even when you tell them what to do, it will not end up translating to what you really want.
Okay.
And then there is a clash because even you don't understand what you need. So that's why, like I mentioned before, having an assessment that you can conduct periodically to know your leadership capacity, your adaptive capacity, your management capacity, and your operational capacity is very, very important because all of this four now helps you to now break down your program development, your process development, your research for your organization. A lot of companies don't even conduct research anymore. But
Mhm.
researches are very, very important because I'm actually a research-based person, because I believe a lot in having adequate information about something because you don't want to regret at the end of the day about
Yeah.
whatever is happening or whatever insight you didn't have. And another thing is it helps you to gain multiple perspectives before you make a decision in the organization. Um, Also, conducting all of these four things, like I said, helps your assessment. Also, knowing if you have to employ on a full term or on a contract basis.
Okay.
Now, that's another thing when it comes to things, when it comes to structure that I see that Nigerian companies haven't quite understood, but I feel like a lot are beginning to get a hang of it, is that you don't have to employ everybody that you need sometimes for certain services in your organization. You could bring in consultants on a contract to hire or just on a contract basis. Now, contract to
Okay.
hire means that you contract them for a while, and then if there's a need to now hire them after the contract period has expired, you can then now hire them,
Okay.
or you can then extend the contract. Now, contract basis means you're just putting them on a contract as a consultant or as a person that has certain information that you need in your organization. Now, what does this do? Because yes, you want your company to develop, but sometimes you cannot afford all of the human needs that comes with you employing the person. The taxes, the medicals, the paternal leave, the maternal leave, whatever the situation, um, the paid
Sorry.
leave, the paid days off. So there's a lot of payment and all of that that accumulates. But when you have someone on a consulting basis, you don't need to make all of these payments. All you're doing is just paying the consulting fee, and then you're getting the same value as you would with you having someone in house. So sometimes it's always very good to look at your situation as an
Sorry.
excuse me, as an organization, and then now be able to tell which is best for you as at that point.
Okay.
um, I think also one key thing I'd like to mention is understanding structures and breaking down structures. One of the key problems that we have, in my experience with a lot of clients, is that they do not understand that there is this. So we call it like the market. We call it market box. It's just something that we created in my company. We call it market box.
Okay.
Um, when trying to, well, we have clients that are trying to get into a new market and they come to us, for selling consulting, and they do not understand the human part of it. Now, there's something we call market penetration. There is the product development, there is the market development, and then there is the diversification. A lot of times, these have been channeled by the humans in the organization. Now, remember I mentioned professional development the other time. When people have access to certain information, when they have access to certain research uh, that they've done, you know, they have. So, for example, you can't. There's a difference between a person that has knowledge A and knowledge B. So, when this glass is full and when it's half full, there's a difference between. If, for example, I'm a human being and my knowledge is here, yes, I'll be able to be active in the organization. I can deliver. But when my knowledge is here, imagine the kind of delivery I can give. So it's the same thing when it comes to the humans in organizations as well. When you don't pump in into them, they can't pump out into the organization. So we see a lot of companies when it comes to their products saying, "Oh, our products are not selling." Now we ask them, based on your existing products, what is your market penetration? Can your clientele, I beg your pardon, can your staff, can they tell us what your market penetration is at the moment? And sometimes it's a yes, but by the time we look at the documentations, it's not clear.
Okay.
So when you have existing products and you're trying and you penetrated a market, but you don't know how much penetration you have, how do you now know how well you're doing? You understand? Now,
And
imagine if your competitor, if they know their own market penetration, they even know the percentage, they know your own as well, but you don't know theirs, and you're not even sure of your own. Imagine the level of development that both of those products would have, in the market. So these are like very, very important variables that are very important because we can go on and on and on about human capital development. It's a very, very broad topic. Remember
topic.
when you asked me, I told you what aspect of it do you want?
Okay.
Because it's in fact we can write a whole book about it,
Of course, of
you
course, of
know.
course.
But then the key things that are important is understanding that there has to be continuous assessments periodically in the organization, to know where you are. There has to also be research. The world moves based on information.
Yeah,
What you don't know,
you do it.
you can work on.
Okay.
What you know can take you from a level you've been trying to get to, or sorry, can take you from the level you are to the level you've been trying to get to.
Yeah.
And what you know can also take you to the level you need to be. So you've got to, like, break it down thoroughly and look at your organization periodically, because one key thing is, if I have to mention this also because it's very important, if you do not assess your situation, if you do not do a situational analysis, how do you know what improvements to make? How do you know if the problem is from the humans or the structure? Some structures are very vague. Like I said, clarity is very important. You have to be clear on your structure. So these assessments periodically are, for example, there's a lot of things when it comes to what the core capabilities of an organization is. What the market capabilities are for them, what their financial capabilities are, what is their strategic capability when it comes to their goals. you know um you know um we put in what's like potential profitability.
Okay.
How do you know that, okay, I can potentially make this money if I go into this market? Or, okay, we're even in this market already as a company, but if we develop our humans in certain things, they can bring in the information that we need, to project our product as the better option, you know for people. At the moment, there's this corona beer or alcohol or something,
Yeah.
and people have been saying, don't drink corona this thing so you don't get coronavirus. Now the company has been doing a lot of marketing right now, trying to sensitize people that coronavirus thing is different from their own corona drink. So,
Okay.
these are certain things that happens, when it comes to businesses, and then it takes the humans to correct these things. And I'm sure they've probably done an assessment of the market and seen a gap in their financial gap, between before coronavirus came and after coronavirus came. And they are also being futuristic about it because when coronavirus dies down, people will still not probably buy the drink because in their head it's going to be that
Coronavirus.
they can't take that drink because they might get coronavirus, So, and then the media is very powerful in sensitization.
Okay.
So, social media, especially these days. So, market growth, how you do your product road mapping, all of these things. they are determined by the people in the organization. So yes, I think I'll stop there for now. If you have any questions based on what we've discussed, you can ask now.
Okay, okay,
So
okay. Thank you so much. I'm looking at the comments over here, but I have a few questions for you. And
okay.
first, let me. I want to say big thank you for the class because you have added value to us, and we really appreciate that. So my first
Thank you.
question is, how can we manage or make people to buy into organization growth? If you
I
want,
don't understand the question.
how can we make people like staff that we are
Yeah.
employing to buy into organization growth?
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, clarity. Clarity is very important. So for companies
Clarity.
that we work with, there is something we call organizational health, where
Okay,
we do like a thorough assessment for our clients. Um,
okay,
it's a lot of things. It's very very broad. We usually take like 2 3 days to to work with the organization through it and get through
okay,
it. But basically, what we tend to achieve with that is organizational clarity. How healthy is your company?
okay,
Just like when you give birth to a child, right? And then you're looking at your child's growth. Your child's growth comes from how healthy that child is. A child that is not
okay,
healthy will not grow. So it's the same thing for an organization. However, whatever the current situation of an organization is dependent on how healthy the organization is. Now, when I say how healthy it is, I mean all the components that are in it, um, the values, the business processes, the current assessment, the feasibility study. The key things that makes the organization what it is. Um, who does what in the organization? For example, I mentioned earlier that certain people in an organization do not know how what they do translates to the overall need of the organization. So, for example, if the gatekeeper is just thinking it's just a regular, I'm a gate man, I'll just sit down and it's just chilling, it's just drinking or just gisting at the gates of the company and is
okay.
not doing what it's supposed to do to secure the building. Now, he doesn't understand that his job is very important to the organization, that the CEO is upstairs in his own office, that gets is his own office as well. You know, wherever everybody that comes into that office is actually entering into his own office before they even go and meet the boss. So
Yes,
it's even probably very important, from the moment they get into the company. So, these are certain things, when I said clarity, I mean clarifying to people that work in your organization how important their role is to your
to
end goal.
organization. Okay,
To achieving your organizational objectives and goals, they have to know. Because when I don't know something, then I'm probably not going to be able to see how I fit into the organization,
yes,
or I probably will feel underutilized, or I probably will feel like, okay, they're probably not maximizing my capabilities enough, But then when you're clear as to, okay, this is what we want to achieve in the organization, for example, and then you tell the particular staff and say, oh, okay, let's say maybe we're trying to import goods, and we say, okay, you're in charge of our sales pipeline. Maybe you're our sales manager, and you tell your sales manager that every good that we import into the country is useless if our sales manager cannot get that good to the end user for us. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now your sales manager it feels important in the sequence of the company. It feels important in the sequence of activities because he knows that, I'm important. So everybody in the organization must feel that same importance when you have an organization. It's not just the CEO, the management, or the leadership only that are actually important. Everybody that has a role to play. So, to answer your question in a very short form,
okay,
everybody must be clear about the role that they are playing and how it helps the organization's growth.
okay. Thank you
When they're
so
clear
much.
about
Then,
it, it makes it very
okay,
easy for both, the leadership of the organization, and even the staff as well, to
okay.
have a direction. It gives you a direction exactly, and then when you have direction, growth is very easy for you to achieve.
Wow. Thank you so much. And uh, and- okay, let me ask this one before I go to my before I go to physical. what are the steps to take when it comes to assessing organization progress?
Okay, yes. I think I also mentioned that previously when I mentioned
Okay,
assessment, periodic assessments, knowing where you are, um, where what you're doing is.
okay,
Um, you know, a lot of times you might think that you are achieving what you want to achieve when you're really not achieving it.
okay,
You might think you're making progress when you're really not making progress. You're probably stuck in one place. But when you have periodic assessments, it helps you to look, through what you've been doing. So a lot of times we tell companies that you need to keep on making and monitoring your staff. You need to keep on monitoring and getting reports of activities. So how do you say that you're making progress when you have a goal you want to achieve? Break that
okay,
goal into actionable steps.
okay,
When you break it down into actionable steps, you break it down into steps. Now, all of those steps that you've broken it down into, which of the departments in your organization, who are the people in your organization that can get to help you achieve that?
okay,
When they get to help you achieve that, right? Then you now look at how important is what they're going to be doing in the sequence of the business. Now,
okay,
you now have to let them know, tell them and say, for example,
okay,
marketing manager, we need a marketing documentation, for the next 3 months on how we're going to
okay,
market this product or this service that we're expecting to put into the market. So, for example, we can start with a question and answer segment or a questionnaire. You do a question on Instagram and you run an advertisement asking people, would you buy this product if you had access to such a product? Now,
okay,
that product is not yet out, but we're trying to understand the market, their
okay,
perception, their orientation, and all of that. Now, at the end of the day, the marketing team already has all of their adequate information, and then they come back to the production team and say, "Oh, production team, we think yes, people want this product, but this is how they
yeah,
want this product to be. So, can we make this tweak? Can we make this change? Can we add this? Oh, okay, can we get to achieve all of this within this particular period of time? Because if we make it between this particular period of time and we market it, then we can sell it better." And then the sales team now come in and say, okay, 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 we can actually sell this if you do it as the marketing team is saying, because based on the marketing team's research and their questionnaires to the public, these are the
okay,
answers that they got. Now the production team now takes all of that information. The sales team looks at the metrics and says, okay, we can sell so and so between this particular period of time.
okay,
Now the production team now use all of this information in producing what they need, and then they
yeah,
now bring it back to the logistics department, who now starts to work with the sales team. Now see how everybody has what they're doing.
contributed to the
You understand what
system.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everybody has a contribution to make the system. So it's very, very important to be clear. Clarity is very important. Assessing every stage that you are. When you keep on assessing the stage that you are or the stages that you're currently making, then it's very easy for you to see where you're making mistakes, to see the gaps, to see where there is room for improvement, to see where you can also now do better and say, okay, why don't we work on this better the next time we're doing this? Or, oh, okay, sales manager, the last month you didn't do so well. Why? What's happening? And then you can probably say, oh, okay, um our current this thing, we didn't have fuel in the bus, in the logistics bus or something, or logistics department was having a problem or something was happening. Now it's very easy for you to now start seeing where the problems are. But imagine if you go 3 4 months without any assessment, what happens? You don't even know where the problem is coming from. And at the end of the day, by the time you now start asking your staff, they feel like you're antagonizing them. They feel like you're attacking them. Whereas you're not attacking them. You've just been seeing that, okay, there's a decline. But if you attack your situation and assess it every month, and then now
Okay,
do like a holistic every 3 months or quarterly assessments, then it makes it easier for you, to now be able to see where the company's growth is being stalled, and then I'll say, okay, this is the person that can make this happen and make this better.
okay, okay. Thank you so much. We have other questions too.
All
It
right, go
says,
ahead.
how can an organization create its own value?
Its own value.
Yeah.
First of all, whatever value you want to create has to be something that people are willing to pay for. If it's a
Okay.
for-profit organization, unless you want to do an NGO, as long as you want to make money, it has to be a value exchange. Money is a value on its own.
Okay.
Your product or service is a value on its own. So for me to want to give you my money, you must be willing to give me my own money is value to you. Because it's giving you profit.
Yeah.
Now, you must be able to give me the value for
That
what
you
I want.
want.
So it's an exchange. I think that's the easiest, simplest way to break it down. There must be an exchange of value. I must be willing to give you something great, and you must be willing to give me something great in return. As long as you can do that, then I can pay as much as as I think the value you're trying to give me is worth.
Okay. Thank you so much. And we have another question again, that how can we motivate staff to get results?
Motivation is a very, very important tool to use. In fact, it's one of the tools that we engage with when we're trying to get people to do things. But I think the number one thing to do, like I said, I
Okay.
think I've said this before as well, is that let them know what they're doing, how important it is to the organization. Um, when I wake up in the morning and I see how what I'm going to do in the organization is going to help the organization's growth, I already create a mental image in my head before I even get to work. While I'm
Okay.
in my car driving down to my work, in my head, it's already like, okay, this is what I'm going to do today. I've already broken down activities based on what I know that I'm going to do in the organization on that day. Now, what this means is that when a person knows what they're doing in the organization translates to the organization, they themselves will be the ones projecting the growth for the organization. So, for
Okay.
example, um, I I'm just an example. Maybe I am the sales director for a particular brand. Let's say maybe a biscuit company or a cookie company that sells cookies,
Okay.
biscuits. And then I go to the market one day and then I bought this really nice biscuit and I'm like, crunchy, this is really nice. What brand is this? I've never heard about this brand. When did they start? And I start talking to the market women. Mama, when did they bring this brand? I've never heard about this brand. This is so good. And Mama tells me, that is the reigning brand though. Everybody has been buying it. And mind you, I work for a cookie company as well. We are not selling
Okay.
out like that. People don't talk about us like that. And I'm saying, Mama, do you know this cookie? And I say, what cookie? And I mentioned my company's name. And she's like, people don't buy that one. Even when we don't buy it again too, because customers are not buying it like that. And I go, Mama, why now? He said, they don't have plenty sugar in it, or the sugar is too much, or she just gives a very
Uh,
response, because of course, and that's another problem Nigerians sometimes make when we're doing our market research. We don't go to the market. We don't go to the people that deal with the everyday, day to day people that buy these things because they get the feedback directly. Whatever feedback you're getting in your own company, it might just be some, very good packaged feedback. But if you want to get to the root, you have to go to the grassroots. You have to go to the end
to
markets.
those who are the end user.
Yes. So,
Okay.
and then, this mama tells me the reason why people don't buy our product. As a sales director, I immediately go, because in my head, I'm like, if people are not buying this, then it means we're not making so much sales. If we're not
Yeah.
making so much sales as a sales director, it means that my job is
It's
not
at
being
stake.
effectively done, you know
Okay.
and it means
Okay.
I'm not giving a satisfactory result to my boss. So it means at the end of the quarter or at the end of the year, I probably will get some query about why we didn't make certain sales. So what do I do? Knowing no and I measure clarity, being clear about what each person does. So what do? I immediately come over to the office and I say, you know what, production team, let's try different recipes. Let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that. Now, and then we'll now finally come out with a very great taste that even beats
Okay.
the one that I actually took at the market. Now, what does this mean? It means that when you assess your current situation, When you know what you're doing in the organization, what
Okay.
it translates to the end result, you are naturally motivated. So it now comes to the organization as well. I mean, then there's now the point of the company as well, now putting in place structures, incentives. So say you probably get profit sharing. Maybe okay, because a lot of companies share certain percent of their profit if they meet their target, to their employees and say, okay, we're having, maybe we overmade our profit or we reached our target for the year. We're sharing a percent of that profit to everybody, and then everybody gets, a particular percentage of so we really need to be able to clear that part in any organization, that okay, you need to also give incentives. I need to look forward to coming to work every day. I need to, if I do that, then it means that my organization is giving me a healthy environment to thrive. If I'm growing in the organization and I'm seeing that, my ideas, and that's another thing when it comes to motivation. Whatever, do not ever say any idea is a waste,
Okay.
because then you're crushing the person that is bringing the idea, and then you're telling the other people in your organization that if you also give me your idea, I'm going to crush it.
I'm going to cross you.
Do you
So
get?
people will be
So
afraid to even bring idea.
exactly. So the best thing to do is to say, you know what? Okay, let's bring all the ideas to the table. So one
Okay.
thing we advise companies to do is, when you have ideas, have like an idea table where it's usually like a circle, and then
Okay.
you write the name of the person that gave the idea there, whether it's a nonsense idea, whether it's the best idea, just write it down. What it does is it gives those people a sense of belonging, a sense of influence, that they are influencing
Okay.
something in the organization. Now at the end of the day, you can now say, okay, we're going to now say what's the best.
Deliberate. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, what's the best one for our current situation, and then we can now decide on that, and then now choose on that. So now, pretty much at the end of the day, that person feels wanted. They don't feel like, okay, my idea was just trashed out. So
At least
this is all the
they
second.
deliberate on it before even though they discard it, they still
Mhm.
deliberate on it before they discard it.
Exactly. So it's
Okay.
very, very
Okay.
important that employees are naturally motivated. It shouldn't be forced, because when you're forcing it, then it means that you're not doing your job well as an organization. So we have to talk to
Okay.
management and see, okay, what is happening. Get a consultant. I mean, we are one of the best. So yeah.
But when it comes to motivation, people think it should be everything should be all about money.
Now, so one thing people don't know is that a sense of ownership is more important for people than money.
That
In my
money and
experience,
incentive.
yes. In my
Okay.
experience, when people feel like they are worthy, or they are
Okay.
being used in the right way in an organization, they feel better at ease. So for example, when you respect me, when you honor my ideas, when you respect my person in an organization, it's more than money. You can be giving me money and be rubbishing me every day, be rubbishing my ideas, be belittling my capacities.
I won't
So
feel at all.
exactly, perfect.
I won't
You
feel
just
at
said it
all.
word. Exactly. So work should be my second home.
Just like a player that is signed up and is not playing, he's not playing. He's only sitting on the bench.
Exactly.
You won't be
I won't feel
happy.
utilized. So that's what happens. So, it's a very, very clear cut situation. Make me feel good and I'll do the best in the company. And then, when you now give me money, that's not like the icing on the cake. Okay.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Let me go extra more.
exactly.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Is that okay? Let me check my phone whether we have question. No, no, we have question. Let's okay. No another question. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You
Thank
have
you for your
really impacted into our life. Only that you have left us in Nigeria.
time. No, I didn't leave Nigeria. I'm still in between. Don't worry. I'm still in
In
Nigeria and
between, if you are in between Nigeria, you should be in within around us. You should be
No,
around
don't
us.
worry. I'm a Nigerian at heart. Nigeria is my core.
Of course. So thank you so much. And this is where we are going to be ending tonight's class. But before you go, Do you have any maybe program that is coming up that you are anchoring that you would like people to
Um,
join?
well, at the moment, no. But then my organization is currently working on establishing online classes. So you can
Okay.
always connect with me on LinkedIn to get more information and follow me on LinkedIn because as soon as we're done with all our processes, I'm going to be posting it right there. I don't
Okay.
really do Facebook any longer. I just do LinkedIn. But maybe
Okay.
they're going to also make it switch to Facebook too. You never can tell.
Okay. Maybe do you want to drop your LinkedIn link or
So
your
my
blog or your
LinkedIn,
website?
my LinkedIn is Aminat Tadeshe, just the way it's spelled as well.
LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah.
I think IN is the I don't. Okay.
Oh, or you
I'm
can also post it since you have this link. You can just copy and paste the link.
okay. Let me check your link because I want to post it so that people will be able to see it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm few minutes, please. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. That's your link. That is Aminat Tadese link. So you can connect with her on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is the best place to connect with you for at the moment.
Yes, it is.
Okay, okay. So that is the link. That is the link. So you can connect with her, and I'm very sure you won't regret it. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And before you go, what do you want to leave with us before you leave tonight?
I'm nothing much. Just make the best of everything I've told you tonight, so I can be happy as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you
So
so much.
let's call it a night. So thank you so much, and do have a lovely time over there.
You
Please
too.
save always guide yourself because of this
Oh,
coronavirus. And the ways I don't know whether we should thank God from our own parts because the way it's moving in those countries that we even think they have good care facilities is too much compared to what is
yeah.
going on in
We're
Africa
hoping
that
it
we
can
don't have
find.
health care. Yeah. So just try
Thank you
to
so much.
yeah. So thank you so much and you have a lovely time. Yeah.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. So crossroad Africa, this is where we are going to be ending tonight's class. And I look forward to see all of you on Monday as we bring back another edition. So thank you and do enjoy your time. Bye.